letting them use my iPad.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Should I go grab something?
You know what? We need some of that.
All of it? Or
Just
like
go
half
and,
of it?
just go and grab all. Oh, you know, and the celery. Give me that sandwich.
I'll ask him to somewhere. Just kidding.
Go ahead.
Loin roast. Boil it over a few more minutes before I start slicing it into big slabs.
Perfect, and rolling. It smells amazing.
My mom, I just want to tell you that you're probably one of the strongest people I know. Raising 4 kids by yourself for like 10 years is not an easy job. And I really appreciate and I really love you for that because it takes a strong person to do that.
Honestly, thank you, Mom, for taking the time to make dinner basically every day. It was a major impact on my life, and I know it wasn't always easy, especially with how picky I am sometimes. But honestly, it was a great part of my life.
I'm still whole just with my family being apart because at this point in time I can't really see my parents being together just because I don't remember very much. But I do remember that they would argue a lot. They would try to hide it from us. Of course, they'd be in their room or like they would just stop right away. But I knew that there was conflict going on. And so I'm kind of content with how we eat separately, like me and my siblings with my dad versus me and my siblings with my mom. And I'm happy with it, I'd say, for the most part. I don't get it all the time, which is unfortunate, but the times I do have, I really enjoy.
We would sit at the table every night, say our prayer. Dad would be served first when he was here, and we would sit and he would help me feed the kids because they were small, so he would take a couple. We have 4 kids, and I would take a couple, make sure that everyone got fed. But yeah, so it was nice, and it was a lot of energy, a lot of kids, you know, wanting to do a lot of things, but it was very nice. And the kids, I don't know if they all remember it because it's been a while.
It was nice. It was very refreshing at one point when my son was in his first year at college. Well, so far, first and only year. And he started to really express an appreciation for all the meals that I used to make. And he would call up and say, "Hey, is there a chance I could come over for a meal on Sunday?" And so it made me realize that all that work I had done was actually paying off somehow. So I appreciate that he recognized that.
When I was a kid, my parents were divorced and it was shared custody, so I would spend a week with my mom and a week with my dad. When I was with my mom, is very similar to how dinner is now. It's usually home-cooked meals, though now that Mike's here, it's occasionally he makes dinner and not as extravagant, but it's still tasty. Compared to my dad, he was usually pizza or go out to the movies for dinner. And those are fun for a kid, but not very healthy.
I didn't notice it at first when I was parenting, but after Alex's dad and I split up, and for a while there was just the 2 of us. For a while there, our family dinners were just me and my son. And I started to realize that those were when conversations would happen where we could talk about ideas and concepts, politics, philosophy, that wouldn't necessarily usually emerge just as part of the day-to-day life. So even though we never really planned it that way, I realized after I had raised him for however long that I said, oh, actually, we have these kind of, nice little philosophical discussions over dinner. And it became kind of a thing. Like, we sort of joke about it, like, oh, what's tonight's philosophy discussion? So that became something that I sort of really relished.
Now, it's a little bit different. Now, as they started to grow and Dad wasn't in the meal or here with us when we're having our meal, we continue to do a lot of the same things. We would say our prayers, we would sit together. I didn't want to change a whole lot of our routine, even as much as we would like to have had Dad here with us, that's okay. We just wanted to make sure the children had things similar, and a lot of things didn't change.
I'll start with my siblings, that if you need advice or any help with anything, I'm here and I love you guys and I'm proud of who you've become and I'm excited to see who you will become in the future. And I'm sorry that I haven't been here too often just because I work a lot and I go to school, but I just want you to know, even if it's just a text message, that's okay. I'll answer anything that you have questions about.
I may be busy all the time and I may often seem really tired, but definitely I'm still down for teaching him how to cook. So, once a week we can have a cooking lesson and it'll be a fun way for us to, because I think he could be perfectly capable of making his own delicious, healthy meals just as much as I am.
One thing that I remember, and even when I was married to your dad, is we would always on Sundays go to your Nana's house and go to my mom's house, your other Nana's house, and have Sunday meals with the grandparents. And I think it's very important that you continue that someday, even if you may live miles and miles away, depending on where you are. Always have that Sunday meal, and even if you're not close by, to call your parents and call your grandparents for that matter and just check in and just let them know that you love them and you're thinking about them, and it means a lot.